Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in here. So, 5 things I wish I knew when starting out in Shopify. So, first things first, I wanted to tell you why I'm making this video. It really has 2 purposes. The first purpose is, I want to give you all the real deal and be fully transparent with everyone who's thinking about making the investment in their time and their money to get involved in Shopify. Starting a small business is something that I'm really passionate about. So I think that arming you with the right expectations is the best thing that I can help out with. Now, this video will not go into too much of a getting started walkthrough, but these are the things that would have really helped me kind of kickstart everything when I got started. So the second purpose I wanted to tell you is, guys, this is going to be the real deal, my actual real website. And the best way to support me, if you feel like you got value out of this video, and I'm trying to provide you all value out there, is to hop on my shop and you'll get something little for. If you get a chance, come check it out at theepicoffice.myshopify.com. There'll be a link in the description and more at the end. So anyway, without further ado, let's hop right into it. So first things first, know your numbers. Number 1. So just kind of walking through my page here. Now, this particular website, Shopify site that I've created, has been up for about 2 weeks. And I'll just kind of walk through here. So this is just a snapshot from yesterday. You'll see up top here, May 22nd, 2018. So we had no sales yesterday. We did have some traffic, as you'll see down here. Social sources mainly. A few came through direct, and we'll talk about later in this video where those came from. So Shopify tracks all this information for you. And so when I say know your numbers, what I'm talking about is advertising, right? So there's a few different numbers that are really important. At the end of the day, you just want to make your website profitable. And most likely you're not going to start out being profitable. You're going to start out putting some money into the website. It could be $100, $1,000. There's definitely a big range, and it depends on a few other factors. But one thing that I learned is the term conversion. So conversion is a term, is a rate that refers to the amount of people on average that have to view a product or just your website in general before making a purchase. So for example, if I had 100 people that came to my website and I made 2 sales, my conversion rate would be 2%. All right. So what you want to look at, obviously, and make sure of is that those 2 sales and the cost of customer acquisition. So the cost of customer acquisition, that cost may come from the ads that you have up. A lot of times it's pay per click, and we'll talk about that later in this video. But what that means is you're paying money to the ad agencies every time someone clicks on your site, and then comparing that to your conversion ratio and then your average cost, your average sale price. So say your average sale is $20 and you made 2 sales. So that's $40 in profit. But say your spend on advertising for those 100 people to come view your website to make those 2 sales, say that's $50, where you just took a $10 loss. So I hope you're following me with those numbers, but basically you want to make it so that your ad budget is less, or the spend on ads is less than how much you're going to make in sale on that. So conversion ratio is very important, and learning your cost to acquire essentially each customer is a really important number to know, and that'll help you determine how much you want to offer, because a lot of these sites out here that we'll talk about in a second will let you offer an amount or a figure, whether that be 50 cents per click, $1 per click, and based on how much you're willing to pay per click, will depend on how many times your ad essentially appears, and the quality of the appearance within the website. So I hope that all makes sense so far to you. So moving on to the next topic. So this is kind of what you can expect numbers wise starting out until you really start to grow, really start to get some traffic. And obviously the best traffic is traffic that you don't have to pay for. So there's some other ways you can get to there as well. So that brings me to my next point, marketing. So here's kind of where I started. So there's different websites that offer different ways to market. And honestly, marketing is everything. There's no way that you're going to set up your website and all of a sudden, have people just clicking on your link and buying stuff. Like, that's an unrealistic expectation to have. So basically, how I got started, there's a few different channels, just to name a few, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. There's a ton of them, and all of them have different strategies, in my opinion, on how to kind of manage them. But what I would say and what I had luck with is just starting with one and kind of learning the ropes, getting an idea of your conversion ratio, getting an idea of how much your spend is, how it works to have to create an ad, what the clicks look like, and that's exactly what I did with this with Pinterest. So this is one way to advertise. So with my Pinterest account, let's see what happens if I go to ads here and give an overview. So this should actually take me to a board where I can see kind of the analytics. So 44 clicks total here. Let's take a look. See if we can view this. All right, it's not going to let me view this, but there it goes. So it kind of gives me some analytics here where I can go in. I can see my spend. You can see that's what I spent on advertising so far to get to those 44 clicks. The products that I'm advertising, we'll talk about what products to choose in a minute, but it shows you your engagements, gives you a lot of valuable data to kind of allow you to refine what you're putting on here. What I would say, ideally, you want to get to multiple channels and everything kind of linked up in one. Another great piece of advice that I cannot stress to you enough, when you go to make your account with Shopify, make sure you create a completely separate email to manage everything on. I made the mistake of using my personal email, and by the time you're registered with Shopify and Overlow and Facebook and everything, you don't want that mixed in with your personal stuff. You want that to be its own separate, living, breathing thing. So I would highly recommend doing that as well. But eventually you want to get to the point where you have multiple channels that you're advertising through, and you can look up videos, and there's different ways to strategize around that as well. And here's the second thing that I will say around influencers or around marketing is leverage influencers. Do the research. There are so many different avenues that you can go to advertise, and do not, and I repeat, do not just start spamming people with emails. That is the wrong way to go. Don't spam your friends, about the site. Like, do it, grow it the right way, and I promise you, if you put in the effort and put in the work, people will come and people will buy from you. So some examples of influencers could be, for example, say someone on Instagram who has, you can search for them that have like that range where it might not be too pricey to advertise to them. Maybe they have 1,000 followers, or maybe they have 5,000 followers that deal in the same type of niche or markets that you're working in. You can hit them up, especially if they advertise their email on their Instagram account. Hit them up and say, hey, like, would you be interested in potentially running an ad for me? If so, like, what kind of costs were you thinking? Because they're in business to make money too. So you got to collaborate with these people. You got to reach out there. Another popular thing to do right now, there's a great website called AdvertiseCast, I might not be saying that exactly right, but just Google AdvertiseCast, and you can advertise on podcasts, and they will show you inexpensive podcast and the number of followers that this podcast and listeners that this podcast have, and you can go ahead and reach out to them, and they will charge you a flat rate to be able to advertise on those podcasts, which is awesome, because if one of them goes viral, or one of them, or you have a series there that ends up going viral, you would get that exposure without any increase in cost if it was already recorded. So that's another great avenue to take as well. So, all right, that was number 2. Moving to the next topic. Number 3, product is important. Niche, but not too niche. Niche, not sure how you say it. So you want to pick a niche product. Let me go to my website real quick. But you don't want to be too niche, all right? For example, I chose to do office decor, toys, puzzles, and games for your workspace. And that doesn't limit me to, it's not too broad. It's not like I'm selling, office supplies. That would be not niche enough. And the reason that you want to stay away from, being not niche enough is because there's too much competition out there. People aren't going to go searching the internet to find an office supply store. They're going to drive down to their local Office Depot to take care of that. So a great way to kind of, really hop into a market that doesn't have a lot of competition is to do something niche, but you don't want to be too niche. You don't want to be, I'm trying to think of a good example from my site. You don't want to just sell, let's see here. There's a good example. Maybe just these terrarium things, that are really popular right now. That maybe that's a little bit too niche, or you don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much. You want to find that kind of sweet spot where the porridge isn't too hot, the porridge isn't too cold, where you can kind of sneak in and create a good product set and product offering for yourself. So that's a really important thing. And we'll talk about that as well. You want to stay on top of trends. So this is probably the most important part of this section. So, for example, y'all see that I'm offering these LED flame lights here. I actually have another one on the front page as well, flickering flame lights. So one thing that's hard to do is, you want to hop on a trend early. All right. And the trends are, anything like this. You can hop into Google Trends and look up different keywords. Anything that's trending in an upward direction. We see this is over the last like 12 years here, but you see we have a breakout here for this flame light search. So you want to stay on top of the trends, because if you hop on it too late, your chance to enter that market may already have come and gone. If you're hearing about something online that's popular, like when the fidget spinners came out, if you didn't hop on that thing early, you're gonna spend your time opening up a fidget spinner, Shopify account, and then it's the market's already been saturated. So you got to hop on these trends early. So it's really important to hop on Google Trends. When you see something out and about that relates, maybe hear about it from your friends, something like that, you're starting to catch wind of something, go online, look it up, see if it's something that's trending, see if you can make a gamble and hop on, something before it gets too big. That's a great way to really get on Shopify and have these huge success stories that you're hearing about from drop shipping. So then the fourth thing that I wanted to talk about, so number 4, is spend the time on your website. I can't mention this enough. There's so many people that go out there and when you start using Shopify, you'll get introduced to the supplier called Oberlo, and Oberlo will it's basically like the Walmart for wholesalers. It's inexpensive products that you can resell, that you mark up and resell and drop ship. So one thing that I see time and time again is people that will create one of these sites, and they'll hop in here and for the descriptions, they won't mess with anything. They just use the generic description that comes out, which usually isn't too detailed. and it's sometimes they have like crappy pictures that have Chinese writing on them, and you can tell that the person's drop shipping from China. Like, you want to make this your own. It goes into like anything in life. You do not want to half-ass this. If you half-ass it, then you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you go in here and you spend the time and edit the product features and descriptions and put in a description that really connects with somebody, like, people are going to read that. So, and if you come out, put in like a nice picture or something that's high quality, maybe you find something online somewhere, and just spend like the little things, the little extra time to really, make your website and your products pop. I mean, if you don't spend the time on it, like I said, you're only going to get out what you put in. So I can't stress that enough, guys. So feel free to like, subscribe. I'm going to try to provide more support around this. And hey, to support me, if you feel like you got value out of this video and you think like it's going to help you out, go over to theepicoffice.myshopify.com and pick something up nice for yourself, for your office. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.